This YouTube video is going to talk about all the art supplies that I brought to the watercolor retreat that I attended in Costa Rica earlier this month. There were a lot of different things that factored into what I decided to bring. Even though I did do a lot of plein air painting on this trip, the majority of the painting was actually done in workshops at the resort that we stayed at. So this is video footage of the workshop space that we had. We had a really large table, and even though there were a lot of women, I had a good amount of space, and so I wasn't really limited in terms of what I could bring and as far as how much space I would have. So I did bring most of my tried and true favorite art supplies because I knew I would be painting at a table, and I also didn't want to limit myself in terms of what types of paints I brought. I usually paint with a variety of paints, i.e. a lot of paints, and so I did want to bring all of my favorite paints and brushes, and I wanted to be able to have all of that at my disposal. I also was going to be meeting Amber, my art bestie, for the first time, and so the both of us brought a lot of different supplies that we felt like the other person might want to try out. And so because of that, I did think about what supplies she might like to see, and she also was really sweet and let me swatch all of her favorite paints, and so I had a lot of fun swatching out her favorite colors, and I definitely will be getting some of those. And I also let a few other people at the retreat swatch some of my paints because I think I have more paints than the usual person, and so a few people asked me if they could try out some of my paints that they've been eyeing and haven't quite made, the jump to buy it. So I was really happy to be able to share those with them. And lastly, I did do a bit of plein air painting. Amber and I got in a day early and we stayed a day later. So we did get to explore some cute little places in San Jose, the big city of Costa Rica. This is the rooftop of the last hotel that we stayed at. I got to do a bit of painting as well as some sketching there. And so I did bring my plein air setup for some urban sketching, which I was really happy to be able to do. And we also got to paint a little bit at the airport and on the plane. So all of these different environments and factors are what influenced my decision on deciding what exactly I brought for this trip. I want to go over everything that I am packing for my Costa Rica watercolor trip. The first and probably the most important thing that I want to talk about is my etcher field case. This is what I'm going to be bringing out with me every single day when we go plein air painting, and I want to tell you what I'm putting in mine. So I already have some supplies here, but I'm going to be filling it up a little bit more. I have 2 fountain pens. This is an extra fine and this is a fine. I like both sizes for sketching, which I will be tucking in right here. I love the straps that the field case has. I also am going to be bringing a handful of travel brushes. So the brushes that I'm going to be taking with are I have 4 little Tintoretto travel brushes. I have a size 4 and a size 8 mop brush. I really enjoy their mop brushes. They're super floppy, super absorbent, very soft. I have a round 6 that I like just for ink and wash painting, and then this is a Escoda Perla size 2. I'm going to be using this for like fine details, and these all fit nicely. Sorry, I have one more little one right here. This is a Whiskey Painter's travel brush that I have repurposed into a tree brush. I think a lot of you guys know I have a tree brush with one of my Princeton round 2s. This one, I have it smashed and it gives me really fun tree textures, and so that's what I did with this little tiny one. So these 5 brushes go into my little brush kit right here, which I'm going to nestle right there. And then I have 3 larger travel brushes that don't fit in this tiny little pocket. So this is a Escoda Perla size 6. This is an Escoda Ultimo size 10. This is gonna sort of be like my mop brush. I have it right here that I can show you. It's nice and bushy, and if I were to try to wet my whole paper with it, I could wet it very easily. But I don't need a size 10 and a size 12, so I've decided to take the 10 with me. So I'm gonna squeeze these in. And then this is just a round 6 that I like to use for swatching. So I'm gonna keep that with me. And then on the side, I have a Princeton Select 10-0. This is like my go-to bird brush right now. And then on the right side of my Etcher case, I have another TWSBI pen. This is filled with blue ink, and I'm probably gonna be writing in stuff in my journals. That's the plan. I have my little viewfinder. This is sort of to help with composition. I like to look through the viewfinder to sort of get the rule of thirds so that I can set up the composition of my sketch. It's just not completely necessary, but I got it and I really like it. I have a ruler that I like to have when sketching, an empty spray bottle that I'm probably going to fill with water so I can sort of wet my paper as needed. This is just a marker that I can use for shadows when I'm sketching. And then I have a tool to open my blocks. I haven't 100% decided if I'm going to bring a block yet, but I'm leaving it in case I do. And so that's what's in my field case right now. When I go out, I do plan to put a sketchbook in it. So I haven't opened this one yet, but this is one of my favorite sketchbooks. It's an Etcher Lab A6 everyday sketchbook. I have one open on my desk right now. This is how big it is, and I do a ton of my sketches in here, and I'm really excited to bring this little guy around with me. So for the purpose of this video, since I haven't opened this one yet, I'm just going to pretend that this is the one that I'm going to be bringing since it is opened. And let's see if it'll close on me. I think it should close. Oh. Let's see. It's a little heavy on the bottom. Okay, and that's everything in here. And then I have 2 Art Toolkit palettes that I will also be bringing with me. This is my main one, and then I got a smaller one to use kind of as an extra mixing palette to close. So that's going to be my field case. I'm just going to attach it to my fanny pack, and then I have a tripod as well as a little stool that I'm going to be bringing with me. So this is going to be my plein air box. The next thing I want to show you are the different palettes that I'm going to be bringing. So I am going to be bringing, in addition to the Art Toolkit, 4 palettes. So I have my Addison Forever palette. This is the palette that you guys all know and love. I paint from this every single day, and if I only had 1 set of paints for the rest of my life, I would be happy with these. So this is my Forever palette. This is my, it's covered in paint splatters, but these are my primarily Stay Kiwi paints, in addition to a few other paints from some other companies. This is also a lot of my really favorite colors. And then Amber recently got me this palette of hers by Masha's Watercolors, and I'm like in love with them. So I do want to bring this too. But I was telling her that because this is like ceramic, I'm like a little bit worried that it's gonna like break on me. So here is the bag for my Art Toolkit, and I'm gonna use it as like a cushion to sort of nestle this in so that it's a little bit more snug. So I have that. So these are gonna be 3 of my watercolor palettes. And then you all know that I love my Lisi Linka shimmer paints, and so these will be coming with me as well. So those are the paint palettes. I don't want to keep this one closed because the way that it's like depth-wise, it's not that deep, and sometimes the paints get stuck to this paper, which is what happened right here. So I'm gonna leave this open for now until I get it packed away. And so the next thing I want to go over are the brushes that I'm going to bring. As most of you know, I love my Polina Bright Round brushes, so these will be coming with. So these are my tried and true brushes. I'm going to stick the round 2 here, the round 1, and the 0. And then the next brushes I'm going to bring are my liner and rigger brushes. These are the brushes that I use to paint a lot of my trees and my favorite iconic birds. So I'm going to put them 2 together. These are the Da Vinci's. This is the Polina, as well as my Princeton Select. And then I love my Etcher round 6 and round 1. And then my tree brush that you guys all know about. And then this is a interesting brush that I got recently. It's called a stroke brush, a Princeton Heritage quarter, not even a quarter, 1/8 inch stroke brush. It's kind of like a really long flat brush. So, and I have one more base. So let's see what else I want to bring. I'm gonna bring my mop brush, my Polina mop. So these are the brushes that I'm going to be bringing. I have some clips clipped on the side for my sketchbooks. And then this is just an etcher. It's what their brush set came with. So that is what I'm wrapping this in. Plus these little travel brushes that I mentioned earlier. I have two little cups that I'm going to be using. These are clip-ons. I really like this one by Whiskey Painters. It's just a really like firm clip, and then this one is two in case I want, you know, one for clean water and one for dirty water. So I'll be bringing those. I have a Posca pen that I'm going to try to fit somewhere. And then these are kind of like, I'm gonna fill them with water. They're like little stainless steel containers for me to fill with water. And then I have some of these clips that I'm gonna be clipping onto a board to do plein air painting, and I'm gonna add a few more clips. So this is just a bag of random stuff. I'm gonna be bringing 2 rolls of Holbein soft tape. I have the 1/2 inch as well as the 1/4 inch, I think, or the inch and the 1/2 inch maybe. And then I'm going to be bringing, like I mentioned before, 2 sketchbooks. So my Etcher Everyday A6, and then this is a Hahnemuhl 100% cotton sketchbook that I got as a gift from a friend, and I am going to be bringing this with me as well. So those 2 sketchbooks, as well as a few packs of paper. So I have Arches, and this is some paper from Blue Pine Arts, and I have them wrapped just so that they don't get ruined during transfer. And then I have my acrylic board that I am going to be taping stuff to. I think this will be helpful because I won't have my hot air tool, and so I am going to probably have to wait for everything to dry. So I was thinking I could tape and work on stuff, set it aside. I'm gonna bring both of my acrylic boards, and then once it dries, I can kind of flip back and forth. So that's that. And yeah, these are all the supplies that I'm going to be bringing with me. And I'm going to show you what container that I brought, or bag that I brought, to put all of my supplies in so that I can grab them quickly and have everything in one place and not sort of like all over my luggage and whatnot. So I have this clear bag. It has 2 handles, but I'm going to move everything over a little bit, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to pack this. I'm going to take this sketchbook out since I will not be bringing this one on my trip with me. And now that I've taken that out, I think I can put this back in. And I'm also going to add my Posca pen. So I'm going to stick that right there. Closes much better without the sketchbook in there. So I probably have to take some stuff out when I actually go out. So I'm going to move my paints. I'm going to temporarily close this. So this is the biggest thing so far. I'm going to put this in the back. And then I'm gonna grab the sketchbooks next, put them in front of those two boards. And then I'm gonna put one palette here, second palette, third palette, fourth palette, a little box of magnets, my tape, actually I'm going to put the paper in front of that. Okay, now that I've stood it up, things sort of fell into place a little bit more easily. Put this here. And then my brushes, I'm gonna leave at the very top because I don't really want them to get squished. I want them to sort of have space like that. Can't forget these little containers. So that is everything that I will be bringing to Costa Rica, and my etcher field case right here. And then this little guy unfortunately didn't fit into anything, so I'm gonna have to put it somewhere else to make sure that it doesn't get crushed because this is glass. But that is everything that I will be bringing with me to the watercolor retreat, and I can't wait to hear what you think. Is there anything that you wouldn't have brought or you would have brought? Tell me in the comments. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up click. It's a very tiny way to help my channel grow.